We have made it. So you're so close to having your HoneyBook set up and ready to go for your business. I know it seems like a lot, but hang in there with me. You're doing great. So now once you have all this foundational stuff set up, it's time to create your workflow. So a lot of times people think like, oh, I can just go in and create my workflow. But really, the strategic and most effective workflows take a little bit of back end work. But once you have it all set up, it's a beautiful thing. And it's a really, really long-term solution for your business. So we're going to come in and we're going to create a workflow together. So we're going to go right here. And when you come into a workflow, it's already blank. It's like a blank canvas that you're like, oh, I get to build it out. So my encouragement is before you build out your workflow, list out every single step of your entire brand design or web design process, like every single step, like no detail left behind. So you can write, they complete their contact form, and then the contact form triggers, that triggers the inquiry response in HoneyBook to go out, which has a scheduler link in it. And then maybe you send a follow-up email, right? So like every single step of the process, write it on paper. That's the easiest way that I've always done it, is to just write every single step out so I don't miss any step when I'm building out my workflows. So we'll come into 10K GG workflow. And then the first thing is you have 4 trigger points in HoneyBook that you can like create workflows with. You can create a task. So a task is just like a reminder of like, hey, you've got to do this in HoneyBook. You can send a questionnaire. So we made that questionnaire earlier on in a lesson. You can send emails, or you can send brochures. So the very first thing we want to do is we want to send an email. And that's going to be that inquiry response email that we just built out with the scheduler link in there. And you want to say you want to automate it. You want to send it automatically after activating the workflow. So the when is how many days, like before or after something. And then you can pick the setting. So it's after activating a workflow, before a project end date, after the contract is signed, after the invoice is paid, like after a payment is made. You get to make those setting options. So I will say too, every system has its limitations. So just go in with an open mind, thinking like, okay, I may not be able to do everything I want, but I can do a lot of things that I want. So that's what I would always encourage everybody with, is just like, just be reminded that there are some limitations there. So you'll come in, and the first thing is your inquiry response. And we're going to connect this back to a contact form, which I will show you later on in this video. But you want to automate that. You'll send that. And it's really nice because for you, once somebody fills out your contact form, you know that they're taken care of. That email is going out. It's going to send automatically. It's triggered by someone getting your contact form in, and it's done. It's a beautiful thing. So then, afterwards, it's like, okay, maybe you want to send your brochure next, right? Maybe it's like, I want to send my branding services template, and here's the email that goes along with it. Like maybe it's it's a follow-up, and maybe it says, please take a look at, the branding services, or whatever that looks like. And then you can send it, like you can set these settings up too. So usually I do like after the previous step is complete, I do like maybe it's 2 days after. You could also do where you start this workflow off with sending your brochure, like your branding template, like your brochure template right away with your inquiry response. And you can say something in that email like, I've attached my branding, my services guide to this email. Please take a look and let me know if you have any questions. I'd love to schedule a call with you. So like that's how that could work, where you send the brochure and you send the inquiry response email with it, and then it's done. It's a beautiful thing. So then after you send all of that initial stuff, and let's say they're like, yes, I'm ready to sign up, let's go. You can send an email out for, typically what I do is I send an email after someone signs a contract. So in HoneyBook, you can't actually automate your proposals and your invoices and your contracts. You have to go in and do those manually, which I will show you really fast how you can do that within a project on the last video. But then what I do typically is I send an email after a contract is signed, just to say like, yay, you're officially in, you're ready to go, I'm so excited, all of that good stuff. So you'll come to send an email, and then maybe it's like an acceptance email, or it's a branding welcome email, right? And this will be after a contract is signed. After the contract is signed, send it right away automatically. You're in, welcome, wahoo, ready to go. And then maybe after that, you'll say, send Asana portal link to client, right? Like you just want to make sure you're reminding yourself oh, I've got to do this. And then you put the settings in there for, after, previous step is complete, or like 3 days after the contract is signed, or maybe it's after a questionnaire is submitted. So before this step, you could have where you come in and you say, I want to do the questionnaire next, right? And so maybe it's like this, template questionnaire you made, it's your branding questionnaire, whatever that looks like. And then you send an email with that. So usually I have like a little, like a brief email that's just, this is a default one, but usually I have a brief email template that's like, I've attached a questionnaire here for your branding services. Be as detailed as possible. I'm so excited to learn more about you and your vision and all of that good stuff. And then you can just automate that to go out, and then you do that a certain number of days. So maybe it is like 5 days after the contract is signed, and then you can automate it, right? So it's really, really nice. And what's nice is too is like, let's say you're like, I don't want that step here, I want it up there. You can just switch those around. It's drag and drop. So all of that can be done in HoneyBook. And then when it's done, you're like, oh yes, it's great. It's ready to go. And you can have this peace of mind that like your clients are being cared for, but you're not spending hours behind a computer. So then you would hit save once you're done. So we'll just use this workflow as our example for this video, but you can see how much we can automate in here. Now, there are some things that you can't, right? Like obviously, like this task cannot be automated. It's just going to remind you that you have to do this. And let's say you're like, there's an email that I don't actually want to automate. I'd rather get my eyes on it before I actually automate it out. You can totally do that. So instead of doing automatic, you can do approve before sending. So then HoneyBook will say to you, hey, you've got this email to approve. And what's nice is it'll bring the template up for you, and you just make your quick edits and you send it and you're done. So it only takes a few seconds and not like a few minutes if you had to write an entire email out for yourself. So we'll save this and then we'll come back, and here's the sweet spot to it all. So you want to make sure that, especially if you're doing an inquiry response, that this is connected to a contact form. So that's a really, really important piece, is it's got to be connected to a contact form in order to trigger an automatic inquiry response to go out in HoneyBook. So you might be like, well, how do I do that? And so you would come in and you would pick the one that's in here. So because I'm not sure which one that one contact form we made is, I'm going to go back to templates and I'm going to hit contact forms, and then I'm going to do this 10KGG one. And we will go into settings. And so you have to assign it to a certain project type. So they have to both match up. So for this one, maybe we'll just say website. Let's see. Oh, okay. So if you have the project type in here, it'll say like you have to remove that first. So we'll just say website for the sake of this video. Where is project type? Oh, here we go. Okay, let's try this again. There we go. All right, so then you'll hit publish, okay? And there's that code that you can put into your Showit site or your website. You can embed it in there. We're going to hit publish changes. And then you would come back and you would go to your workflows and you would click on this workflow we just made. Actually, we'll go back this one right here. And actually, you don't even need to click on it. You can actually come in here and you can assign it right there. So you'll go to website, and then it just switched over. And so now the website contact form is connected to this 10KGG workflow in here. So that way, when you come in, like it's all connected. So that's the big, big piece, is that it has to connect and match up with this appropriate contact form. So because that can usually be something that like can be a hiccup for people sometimes. So you want to make sure that it's connected specifically to the contact form that you made. So going back into those settings and making sure, like assigning it to a certain project type, and then coming in and says, you can see right here, automate via contact form. So you can automate the first step of the workflow to start with a contact form. So I know that was probably a lot, but just take it step by step. So my biggest encouragement is when you're coming into workflows, just like take it step by step and just think through like, okay, for an inquiry response, do I want that automated? Do I want to approve that before sending? If you want to approve it, you can set it up to approve it. If you want to automate it, you can set it up to automate. So, and just thinking through each step of your process, which is why it's helpful to write out your entire workflow first, because then you can come in and just kind of have your workflow next to you. You're like, okay, this is the next step. This is the next step. How do I want to set that up in the system? So take a little bit of time to do that. I know it can be, and the thing is like, it always ebbs and flows. And so it'll change over time, and you'll probably look at it and be like, oh, I don't actually do that step anymore. So I'm going to take that out. And that's totally fine. And that's easy enough to do. So you could just come in and you just hit delete the little trash can and you're good to go. So it really can develop and shape over time. as you want it to.